Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It is the 5th of February in the year 2020, and it is freezing in Virginia. And it's Saturday morning, and I'm still on it. I just went to the store and picked up that propane heater from my buddy's garage, and it works unbelievably well. So in the last 6 months, that's the second subscriber that I've actually installed infrared heating into a space for them. I'm like that. That's how I roll. I got old bones and they don't like being freezing cold, and I got to get this truck put together. So there is that. So this morning, when I took a ride to go pick that up, I was listening to this video that I did about 6 years ago. We are live. Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. Today is the 6th of June. It's 2017, and you guys have been asking me for about 7-8 months so far. I finally got a hold of him, the man, the myth, the legend. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Skiba. What's up, brother?
Hey, Richie, how you doing, man?
And I got to say, I listened to that entire 2-hour live stream. I've listened to it a couple of times speaking, actually. I listened to a bunch with me and Nicholson, with me and Big Sib. I listen to old live streams that I've done to see if anything that I said back then would be relevant now. Plus, it kills time. So there is that. And I got to say that Rob put himself out there. Rob was an entrepreneur. Rob was always hanging out, intermingling with the conference people and Hollywood people. He mentioned the number 33 an awful lot. He was going to be a lifer in the military. And when he died, it helped the COVID people. The problem with that is when we tried to find his actual obituary, we couldn't. But we did find a guy named Robert Skiba, 71 years old, that died the same time in the same area. So whatever. I don't know what to feel about that. I figured I would just say something now. But Rob did a lot of good work. Rob got a lot. The flat earth. No rapture. Getting Doug Hamp to switch over to no rapture and understand stars are actually luminaries, are actually angels or entities, etc., etc. So I just wanted to say that. But here's something else that I just recently told you days ago.
It sounds like fireworks. It's not a similar sound of fireworks. It's almost like it's like a deep rumble, a deep boom.
There have been really loud explosions.
Ulta lives with her boyfriend in the Marine.
Community is fearful. Concerns are that something serious is happening.
I was tripping out, man. I was like, dude, what is that? I've seen lights here and there, and I see a lot of fighter jets that take off. And they usually have a blinking red, light. And these were just solid. And I was like, it's not a helicopter. They're too high up to be a drone, that I could tell, because it was weird. And then they started moving, and I was like, man, it looked like a fleet of UFOs, like what you see on TV.
And then strange lights in the skies following these explosions. That's probably them getting ready to set off the San Andreas, the Yellowstone, who knows? Some massive natural disaster that will devastate the nation, that will devastate the food supply. It's what they're doing. They didn't go 2 years deep into this thing to back off now because some truckers are doing something or other. You know what I'm saying?
Just kept on hearing just massive boom noises in the clouds.
When yesterday's volcano erupted near the island nation, turning the sky black, the reports from family and friends were terrifying.
When you see fireworks, it's not a similar sound of fireworks. It's almost like it's like a deep rumble, a deep boom.
I'm not saying that to be a doomsayer. I'm saying that because this is predictable. It's all predictable on our end and on their end. The only thing is they're perpetrating it, so they don't have to predict it. They're doing it. We have to try to figure out what their next move is.
So I made that video 6 days ago. 6 days ago, and I was saying they're probably using the technology that they have developed over the years to make earthquakes. Remember Japan? Remember the tsunami? Remember them when Japan wouldn't play ball with the New World Order agenda? And then suddenly they get an earthquake directly underneath a nuclear power plant that sets off a tsunami. It was unbelievable. They have this technology. They've had this technology for years and years and years. And I can't help but notice that they say this. I bring that up 6 days ago, and then suddenly we have this. 6 days later, are you kidding me? We have this.
Well, last week, several earthquakes struck off Oregon's coast, according to the U.S. Geological Survey.
Breaking overnight, a 4.4 magnitude earthquake hit off the coast of Oregon.
But really interesting stuff, especially when you get a huge swarm here just off our coastline. It's a little unnerving, isn't it?
There have been around 60 earthquakes off the coast of Oregon starting yesterday and then continuing throughout today. The biggest, a magnitude 5.8.
It's got a lot of us wondering what is going on, so we'll show you where it's happening. This is along the Blanco Fault Zone, about 400 miles west of Bandon. 2 of the quakes registered above a 5 magnitude.
Elizabeth, certainly the question on everyone's minds tonight, especially when you hear just how many there have been and how big some of those magnitudes are. But the short answer is no. This is not a cause for concern. The professor I talked to explained the reason for that is because it's so far off the coast, but to have so many is unusual.
They have one 5.8. That's big.
So the news tells you there's nothing to worry about. Don't worry about those earthquakes, 60 in one day, that are happening in a straight line coming right towards the west coast. Don't worry about the mysterious booms that were happening everywhere and the TR3B lights that we're seeing in the sky, because those things are using some sort of a magnetic. I'm not going to say anti-gravity, because gravity, whether you like it or not, is a theory. It's a theory. It's never been proven. Gravity is not accurate. And if you actually stop and think, the gravity that it would take to hold a 240-pound dude down to the earth would crush an infant or would crush a butterfly. What holds us to the earth is some sort of magnetism based on our molecular makeup or something to that effect. I don't know. But at any rate, the TR3B uses some sort of technology where it can defy what we know as physics, etc. And I'm sure that it's some insane weapons platform. You know what I'm saying? But the earthquakes aren't the only problem. You know, I'm talking about the San Andreas. All those deep booms are setting off earthquakes. They're probably messing with a fault line, or they're trying to set off a supervolcano. Well, lo and behold.
On the environment, geologists are closely watching Oregon's South Sister volcano for activity. South Sister is not too far from Bend. Experts noticed a subtle increase in the rate of uplift of the ground on Monday. This was detected about 3 miles west of the volcano. Geologists tell us that the uplift is caused by small pulses of magma building up roughly 4 miles below the ground surface.
And then strange lights in the skies following these explosions. That's probably them getting ready to set off the San Andreas, the Yellowstone, who knows? Some massive natural disaster that will devastate the nation, that'll devastate the food supply. It's what they're doing. They didn't go 2 years deep into this thing to back off now because some truckers are doing something or other.
Just kept on hearing just massive boom noises in the clouds.
When yesterday's volcano erupted near the island nation, turning the sky black, the reports from family and friends were terrifying.
When you see the video from Tonga of the actual eruption, it is like world-ending, terrifying stuff.
Kept on hearing just massive boom noises in the clouds.
It doesn't sound like fireworks. It's not a similar sound of fireworks. It's almost like it's like a deep rumble, a deep boom.
I'm not saying that to be a doomsayer. I'm saying that because this is predictable.
Kind of earthquake experts say we here in the Pacific Northwest could one day experience as well when the Cascadia subduction zone, a 600-mile-long fault off our shore, ruptures. Experts say it's what happened some 321 years ago, and now scientists here in Oregon have a bit more proof of that.
We're just establishing more physical evidence of the earthquake and tsunami in 1700.
Bob Ziak is a research oceanographer with NOAA. He and a team of researchers analyzed core samples of old-growth trees about a mile inland of Newport. They discovered something big had happened to those trees back in 1700.
What we do is we measure the growth rings of the trees, and it showed that the growth was really subdued or non-existent during that year.
So I think you get my point. How in the world could you possibly predict something and then a week later, that's exactly what's in the news? Do you notice how that just keeps happening and happening and happening? Because Do you remember 2 years ago when this whole pandemic was sprung on us and we didn't believe it and we turned out we were completely and utterly right? Do you remember 2 years ago when we told you, hey, they passed a bill where they're paying doctors or intimidating doctors into saying that everything is because of COVID? Any death is because of COVID. Gunshot wound, COVID. Car crash, COVID. Everyone's got COVID, COVID. We told you back then, if they're going to continue trying to push this, and if America and the world falls for it, we're going to start seeing things like we never saw before. And that's exactly what people are seeing. These guys are going to set off an event. A natural event is next in line. A natural event that'll scare people to death, but it'll break the food chain. It'll break the supply chain. Absolutely. You know what I mean? If something horrible happens on the West Coast, that's going to be the excuse for everything. So be ready. Be prepared. I cannot stress this enough to you people. Be ready. Be prepared any way you possibly can. And listen, seize the day. Live for today. Find enjoyment in the fact that you can walk, talk, breathe, see, smell. Things that we just totally and utterly have taken for granted because we're Americans and we were born into the most unbelievable MK Ultra system program ever developed, devised in our history. This is the New World Order and they're not going to stop. We can see them. This is like your next door neighbor secretly building a doomsday device in his garage. And the reason you can tell is because you can't see him doing it, but you can hear him making it at night. That's what people are hearing. It's coming. Be ready, but don't be afraid. I know that's hard to say, but it is what it is. Richie from Boston. I'm out.